This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Nokia N900 smartphone running Maemo, which is a Linux-based operating system. This is quite different from anything you've seen from Symbian Series 65 or 3. It's got a hardware keyboard here that's somewhat reminiscent of the N97, for better or worse. There are some things we like about it, like the directional keys right here are very convenient, but we still have the strangely offset space bar over here. It runs widgets on the desktop like the N97, but the resemblance really ends there. This is sort of like Nokia's internet tablets, the N800, the N810, but it's been greatly refined. You see you have swipeable multiple desktops here, each of which support widgets, and there's a lot of useful software here compared to Nokia's earlier internet tablets. There's shortcuts here. You can put your desktop to the phone dialer, your email, contacts. Here's a calendar widget that shows upcoming meetings. Weather widget right here is customizable. Links to the Avi store, Maemo downloads, which is the operating system that this phone runs. This is really cool right here. This is a moving map. It's our GPS location at the current moment, and this map will update as we move around. If you're worried about killing your battery, you can hit the little on-off symbol here to turn that on and off. Right now we've just turned it on, so it's brightened up. That's a pretty cool feature. Here we've got an AP News listing. You can tap on that to see the full listing on the AP News website, which we'll get to later. This is Facebook client right here. There's also one for Twitter. It scrolls and updates automatically as people put new status updates on. You can have photo speed dial to anybody you want right on your desktop. There's a shortcut to Google. And here you've got a little shortcut bar to Nokia Maps, camera and photos, email, and stuff like that. So that's the desktop. We'll take a quick look at the device before we cover the software features, of which there are many. This is a resistive touch screen, so everything is finger-friendly pretty much, but just in case, there's a stylus included here. Handy for tapping on URL links that are very tiny, that kind of thing. But it's a lot more advanced than Symbian 5th edition in terms of being finger-friendly and responsive. 3.5mm stereo jack, lock switch, speaker, stereo sound, your volume, there's your power, screen lock, unlock, the camera launcher and shutter button. You can also launch the camera by sliding open the camera door here. And you can see there's a dual LED flash here, and this is Nokia's usual excellent 5-megapixel autofocus camera. It also shoots VGA video at 30 fps. This we've seen on a couple of Nokia N series phones is designed to use the phone while it's propped up. Say if you're watching videos or even surfing the web and putting it on a table. It's the lock screen here. Pretty easy to lock and unlock it. Let's compare it to a few other devices. This is the Nokia N800 Internet tablet. You can see it's a lot smaller. This might seem large for a phone, but it's usable. This obviously was too big to ever be a phone. Here we have it compared to the iPhone. Smaller in that respect, but obviously a lot thicker because of the keyboard and other internals. And lastly, we have the Motorola Droid, which shares a similar sliding keyboard design. Motorola has a 4-row keyboard, while this has a 3-row keyboard. Both of them are pretty lacking in travel. I would give a slight preference to the Nokia keyboard, though it's not one of my favorites. So let's take a look at some of the features in depth now. If you want to get to programs and settings and such that are installed on the phone, you just tap that little button right there. And you can see you've got photos, media player, web, contacts, phone, Nokia Maps, Nokia Conversations, email, including Exchange support. It works with Google just fine. And a lot of other little utilities, and you can download programs too. There's about 25 right now listed on the Maemo N900 page, some of which are pretty useful. You've even got a little X terminal installed here, since this does run Linux. A couple of weather programs, App Manager notes there's a sketch and drawing program for those of you who prefer to use the stylus or draw diagrams and such. And there is an Office Viewer Suite also installed. It is view only. If you want to get back, you just tap like that. The phone is very fast. It runs on an ARM Cortex A8 CPU with 3D graphics acceleration. So it's doing a whole lot of fancy stuff here on the desktop, but it doesn't really slow down much. Take a look at the contacts real quick. It's your contacts listing. If there are photos of the person, as you can see here, you'll see a little thumbnail. The phone does have an accelerometer that works in all 4 directions. However, many applications run in landscape mode only, as you can see. The phone is an exception that does run in portrait mode. Here's the on-screen dialing pad. You can see you have dynamically generated call and call end buttons. If you're in a call, the end button will appear. So these buttons are large and easy to use, but we kind of miss having hardware phone buttons. All in all, this is more of a pocket computer than it is a phone. It doesn't have as many phone features as the usual Nokia phone. Voice quality is, however, excellent, and reception on T-Mobile's 3G network, since this has T-Mobile's 3G bands, is also very strong. The phone has Wi-Fi, the phone has Bluetooth, it's GPS. We'll take a look at the web browser now, which you can launch from the Programs menu, or you can launch from any web-enabled gadget. For example, this is Facebook. If I tapped on that, we'd see my full Facebook page. And if we tap on the AP News, we'll go to AP News site. This is a WebKit-based browser, which means it does a very good job of rendering. It's a resistive display, not capacitive like Android phones or like the iPhone, so there's no multi-touch pinch and zoom. However, it's very responsive. It has inertia scrolling. I have no complaints. Again, it's definitely a better experience than S60. Tap on a news item, see how that loads. So right now we're on Wi-Fi. It's also quite fast on T-Mobile's network. If you want to go and see your full controls, you just tap over here again. Controls are fairly minimal. You have a plus sign to add the page to your favorites, back button, and your bookmarks right here. So we'll see how our site renders. Does a good job of fitting things with relatively little side-to-side scrolling. Text is small but readable. If you want to zoom in, you can double tap, as is the case with most resistive touchscreen phones. Let's take a look at the New York Times next. One of my favorites right here. And as you can see, you're getting the full desktop version as you do on the iPhone and Android phones. You're not being fed the mobile version. Doesn't want to go full screen until it's finished loading the page. And if you want to go back, the history is highly graphical. So you can see it shows you initially the last page and all the other pages you've been to. So you can just tap on whatever it is and go back there. Let's take a quick look at Nokia Maps. The phone has a proximity sensor and it has haptic feedback. Proximity sensor means that you won't suffer from cheek dialing if you're speaking with the phone against your face. Haptic feedback is subtle. It's not going to drive you crazy with it bzzz every time you touch it, but it's just enough that you can feel it and hear it. So here we are in Nokia Maps. We're fairly zoomed out on our location here in the Dallas area. You can zoom way in, or you can zoom quite far out. Graphics are lovely on this. And here you can use this to find POIs. We've got routing. and you can do it from search that you've done for POIs or set from maps. The phone handles multimedia very well, thanks to the fast CPU and the graphics processor. Here's a sort of Sony PSP-like media interface. You got a music player, your video player, internet radio, and you can also download an FM radio that uses the included headset as its antenna. We'll check out internet radio real quick. Got many countries bookmarked here since this is an international device. We'll pick something from, let's pick BBC. So this is streaming over the internet connection.
To make hirings, and those hirings are then they need services. For example, one of our company's traffic control and systems provide.
So that is internet radio. Now let's take a look at the video player. There's a demo clip on here, movie 9. It's a really awesome video player, very high quality. Pretty good speakers too. This is the music player, which is pretty darn cool looking compared to most phones on the market. It even gives the iPhone a run for its money. So you've got cover art here for all of your songs that are currently installed, and just pick. Now we're going to take a look at a bounce game. It's a 3D game for the N900. There aren't a lot of games out yet. We hope to see more, given the graphics acceleration capabilities. Here's a cutscene for the game, which is really luscious. Okay, enough of the cutscene. Just pick what you want to play. Even an iPhone 3G user couldn't complain too much about these graphics. So this uses the accelerometer to play. Which means it's going to be a little hard for you folks to see the screen, but you get the idea. The N900 is a multitasking phone. I'm going to show you right here. This is 2 web browser windows I have running. If I had an email message that came in, it would notify me. A little yellow balloon would cross the screen, and it would also show up over here. So anything that you have running is always available as well. And you can just swipe to get back to your regular desktop again. The phone has 32 gigs of storage built in, and it has a micro SD card slot. It has a 3.5-inch 800 by 480 pixel display, 256 megs of RAM, and it uses virtual memory if it needs more memory than that. And we're going to take a look at the camera interface real quick. So you can see you've got camera modes here. Macro, portrait, landscape, action, or the default automatic. And you've got tools for setting of ISO, white balance, exposure, resolution. It does a full 5 megapixel, or it does a widescreen version. Turn the flash on, off, or red eye. And that takes you to pictures that you've already taken. Something that we just shot earlier today. And you can do a slideshow mode if you want as well. Camera running here in standby mode again. You can have quite a few heavyweight applications running without a problem. If you want to close something, you just tap on the little X. So that's the Nokia N900, Nokia's first MeMo OS phone. It's available now via Nokia USA on their website, and it currently sells for $569 unlocked. It has 3G for T-Mobile's US bands, as well as Europe. It also does Edge and quad-band GSM, so it'll work on any GSM carrier with Edge and GSM. Visit mobiletechreview.com to read our full review.